Hi, Linda Eze here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new to this channel, welcome. Today I'm going to be talking about how you can make more money as a UK nurse, and not just how you can make more money, but how you can save a lot of that money that you're going to be making. So if you're interested in this topic, stick with me to the very end, because I'll be sharing with you resources that will help you to save and also make a lot of money. So let's go. So the first one is working extra hours. So working extra hours means like you're working outside your contracted hours. So in the UK, usually you are allowed to do extra hours, like to work extra hours outside your contracted hours. If you're working with NHS, the contracted hours is usually 37.5 hours per week. If it is for private hospitals or nursing homes, it might be up to 40 to 42 hours per week. Now, outside your contracted hours, you're allowed to do extra shifts for extra pay, and the pay rate is usually higher. For example, if your normal salary is, the pay rate is 12.5 or 13 pounds per hour, if you're doing extra shifts, pay rates might be up to 15, 16, 17, depending on the area that you are going to be taking up your extra shifts. Okay, so for you to be able to be qualified to do extra hours, you are going to need to be signed off your some skills like your IV training, your blood training, your cannulation training, and some other training depending on the trust that you are going to be working. Some might be able to, and your manager will need to append her signature that you can actually do extra shifts in other wards in your hospital. It's possible that your manager can sign you earlier. Sometimes it takes a little time for them to sign you off to go to other shifts to take up extra hours. So wherever you're working, you find out what works in that particular place, and then you go with that. The second one is when you have done extra shifts, particularly in specialty areas, you can actually apply for what they call the bank specialist role. I mentioned it in one of my videos, but yeah, a bank specialist role will help you to earn a better rate. So those that do not have this role, working in the same specialty areas, even if you are doing extra shift, they will be receiving a lower rate than you that is a specialist. So definitely go for this. If you have been doing extra shifts and then you have been working in specialty areas, you can actually apply to work as a bank specialist in that particular place. And then if you don't know about it, just speak to your manager or to appropriate, maybe your matron or someone that is able to advise you on how to go about it. And then if you need to complete any training, just go for it, because it's going to be worth it. So if you are actually going to be using your time to do extra shifts, then it is good for you to actually have more value. So the third one is working with agencies. Okay, so if you want to make more money, you want to register with an agency and use your extra hours to work with them. So if you're an international nurse and you are on Tier 2 visa, you are allowed to work for extra 20 hours per week. So you can use your 20 hours to work for an agency for extra pay. Usually the agencies, they pay their rate is higher. Some of them pay more than 20 pounds per, even as much as 23 to 25 pounds per hour. Some pay less, like around 18 pounds per hour, depending on the agency, but they definitely pay more than the normal hospital. So people usually go this route. To be able to get a job with an agency, you would want to make sure that your contract allows you to work for another employer, especially if you're an international nurse. You want to make sure that your contract allows you to have another employer that you can work with. If you are eligible to work for agencies, definitely go for that. And instead of, some people go this route, so instead of using their extra hours to work for their permanent hospital, they use their extra hours to work for agencies. So for you to find an agency to work with, usually they will request a number of things from you. Usually most things that they will request from you is what you submitted for your permanent work, or even a little bit more. They will ask for your visa, your passport, your ID, your CV, obviously, your training, maybe if you have done medication training, that is oral medication training since you arrived in the UK, your IV training, cannulation training, and any other extra training that you've done, they will request for that. and they can also provide you with their own test, a written test, and they can also offer you an interview where they will ask you some questions. So it depends on the particular agency. So, and there are some of them are going to request like much more things, like maybe the police report. So it depends. They usually have a very thorough documentation process. If you're able to pass through all of that, then you can actually work for the agency. So they have space for you to book. They will provide you with the shift that they have available, and then you find the ones that are suitable for you. If you have not subscribed yet to my channel, please subscribe. Okay, another one is actually going for a higher level, a higher position. For example, if you're still band 5, don't be afraid to go for band 6 if you feel that you have enough experience and you can take charge of the ward and you have the leadership abilities. I've seen people that applied for band 6 even within their 1 year of joining the trust, within 2 years of joining whichever hospital, and they were able to get. So I have a friend, an international nurse as well, that has stayed here just 2 years, but before she even turned 2 years in this UK, she already got a position that is almost equivalent to band 7. So don't be afraid to. Some people, when you come newly, they will tell you, oh, it's difficult for people to get band 6 in this world and everything. Don't be scared. Go for it. If you don't get it, that's fine. Just apply next time when you see the opportunity. When you are band 6 or band 7, you earn much more than someone that is a band 5. So the last one, which is not really the least, is to become a specialist. Become a tissue viability nurse, a stomach care nurse, a dementia, a palliative care nurse, a fertility nurse. Just once you discover the area that you really love, just go for it, study and go for it, because it will help you will increase your earning potential. And whatever you're earning as a band 5, when you come to the UK, if you become a specialist nurse, you discover that your earning will be much more. And whatever you do as a specialist, the rate is going to be much more higher. If you're doing anything extra, then you are going to be earning much more higher. So don't be scared to go for specialist roles. It will really help you. If you want to decide to work in the community and everything, you will increase your chances of getting jobs. So can you actually make double of your salary doing any of this? It depends on you. Have seen people who say that they double their paycheck in a year, like last year. Some people say they doubled their paycheck, some people, but just know that like this is actually the whole of the pay, that there will still be tax. And then remember that the more you earn, the more you are taxed as well. But even with the tax, at the end of the day, if you did some extra shift, you still have something that is going to be like on. It still has its downside. The first one is that you have to make sure that you're really very healthy for you to do any of this. If you do so many extra shifts and you're doing your normal shift with tiredness and everything, you are much more likely to make mistakes or even fall ill. So you want to make sure that you are really very healthy and eating well and everything for you to go on and do that. And it's very difficult for you to meet up with your family obligations if you have family. So those are the things that you have to consider. So what I want to emphasize is that always consider yourself as an individual. Here in the UK, that is very diverse. So many people have different cultures. So you're not going to be doing this because other people are going to do it. You have to try and make sure you do it in a way that suits you, your lifestyle, that suits your family if you have family. And then you also try to do it in a way that you will not fall ill, that you still remain healthy as you keep working. I'm going to be sharing the resources that will actually help you, so that even though you make a lot of this money, you will still keep them. So what are the resources that you actually need that will help you to save most of the money that you're going to be making? The first one I want to talk about is your salary. One app that will help you a lot is a tax calculator. So if you go to your Play Store, you just Google tax calculator for UK, and then you will have options. Just read the reviews and pick the one that will suit you. So, and then you will see how you can actually use it. So you will now know how many shifts that you need to take and how much you're making and how much is actually going into taxes. So you will know how much you're actually making. And another one is something that actually takes a lot of money here in the UK is accommodation. So if you're still single and you're an international nurse, when you come, your employer is most likely to provide an accommodation for you. In that accommodation, recently I noticed that our own was really on the high side because it's central London. So I noticed recently that some people actually even in the same complex, there are accommodations that are less. That is, their rent is less. So when I came, I thought maybe everybody's paying the same thing, but I recently noticed that some people actually paid less, and then those of them that actually got those places that they are paying less, they are still there, like they stayed there for 3 years because they are still single. And then I know that maybe some people that don't even know about it, they are just still staying in the same accommodation and paying much more. And those people that are staying in their accommodations, maybe maybe smaller or something like that, and then they pay a lot less, or maybe just you can save hundreds of pounds doing that particular one. But if you're married as well, you consider the distance to where you're working. Sometimes the farther you are from the city, you are most likely to pay less, but then you also consider that. So in your transportation, you consider that how much you're spending in a month, and then you ask questions on how you can reduce your transportation. I didn't even know that some people actually have like a bus pass or train pass, and then they pay monthly, or they buy it from the trust. Like the hospital, sometimes it's the NHS that offer that, sometimes it's the hospital that offer that. So they'll give you the pass, and then you pay on a monthly basis, or they remove it from your salary. But when you consider that when you consider that you pay every day, and someone that has that pass, you discover that they save a lot more. So you ask questions about the transportation, and you'll be surprised that you get like positive feedbacks. Another way is if you have kids and then you need to send them to school, or maybe if you have kids that are less than 3 years old, and you want them to be going out, you want them to be going to some place, instead of paying for a daycare or childcare, you can decide to take them to places that they to the local libraries. They have local libraries. Those libraries, sometimes they also offer they also organize children activities where they read for them and sing for them, and then you get their timetable so that you can be taking your children by yourself. And then there are other places that they offer an hour play group every school day. So instead of taking them to, instead of paying for childcare or nursery, you can take them to those school days if you have time, or maybe if you have time, you can take them. It's just an hour, and it's very, very good for the children as well. Then if you also decide to go the childminder route, in my own hospital they offer a discount for childcare. So you find out if your hospital offers something like that as well. So, and then you apply for that and use it the way they structured it. So always find out. Don't say, like for me, I didn't know any of those things. Sometimes even when I see those adverts, I don't know how to use them, so I was always paying for what I need and everything. But recently I discovered that some of those things can actually help you. If you check it at the end of the year, you see you have saved, like most times, like more than thousands of pounds, because I know how much I spent for my child who was still less than 3 years as of then, to go to a childcare for 1 year. I know it's like more than a month's salary. So if I had known the other one, I got to know about the play group at the tail end, even though she was still going to the nursery, and then I was still taking her to the play group. And in the nursery, I wasn't paying for her to go every day. Still, I paid more than my salary, my month's salary for the whole year. So you can know how much you can save just by using the resources that are available to you. So go ahead and use these resources. Use the app, ask about the transportation, ask about the accommodation, use your childcare that is provided for you. And another what I have for this video, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that anytime I post a new video, you'll be notified. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you